Look at this, isn't it a fantastic clock? It's a housewarming gift, please accept it. Saying this, Amanda handed me a large wrapped item, which I hurriedly received. Even though I hadn't entered the house yet, Amanda, who gave me the housewarming gift right at the entrance, was looking at me with a big smile on her face. As Amanda mentioned, inside was indeed a clock. It was a wooden clock meant to be hung on the wall, with a small birdhouse on top of the dial. I'm sure at certain times, pigeons or small birds would pop out of it. As I thanked her and received the gift, I suddenly caught sight of something sparkling out of the corner of my eye. Attracted by the light, I stared intently at it, and suddenly a wave of anger surged within me. Driven by that impulse, I swung the clock with both hands and smashed it against a garden stone right in front of my startled mother-in-law, Amanda. My name is Jennifer, I'm 30 years old, and I work in administrative tasks at a factory. My father works in the factory, and I've always been told, manufacturing isn't just about the on-site work, it's supported by people working behind the scenes. Perhaps influenced by this, I've been attracted to behind-the-scenes work rather than being in the limelight since I was a child. During school festivals when we did plays, I would take on roles like managing props instead of acting, and I also managed the baseball team in my club activities. I might not have stood out, but there were always people watching me, and a simple thank you from them made me feel valued. That's why I aimed for an administrative position when job hunting. Initially, inspired by my admiration for my father, I wanted to work in administration at a factory, but it seemed that positions there were more favorable to people with specialized knowledge or experience, and I couldn't get a job at the places I wanted. The first job I landed was an administrative position at a retail store. However, I couldn't give up on working in a factory. While working, I studied machinery a lot and prepared for a job change. I also wanted to gain experience in administrative tasks, so after working for 3 years, I aimed to change jobs. Fortunately, I was hired for an administrative position at the factory of my choice and now handle behind-the-scenes tasks there every day. It was at this workplace that I met Daniel, my future husband. Daniel is a senior colleague who works on site, 2 years older than me. Even though I work behind the scenes, I always have respect for the on-site workers. Daniel, in particular, is always cheerful, no matter how busy he gets, and he lifts the spirits of the entire workplace. He's also very dedicated to his work. Moreover, he's considerate not only towards on-site workers but also towards us in administration. We got closer after sitting next to each other at the company's year-end party and talking. We found common ground in talking about manufacturing related to machinery. I enjoyed learning in detail from Daniel, who had deeper knowledge than I did. It didn't take long for our relationship to develop from there. 2 years into dating, we went on our first trip together. The destination was Hawaii, a place I had wanted to visit at least once in my life. On the last day of the trip, Daniel proposed to me at a restaurant in our hotel. It happened after we finished our dessert during a fancy full-course dinner, which we had to commemorate our last night there. I'm so full. This really has been the best trip from start to finish. Then, for the last part. Daniel said, raising his hand to call the waiter, and to my surprise, a cake came out. Huh? We just had dessert, didn't we? I involuntarily covered my mouth when I saw the cake. Written on the cake was, "Will you marry me?" Then, right there, Daniel got down on one knee and opened a ring box. Inside was a diamond ring. "Will you marry me?" I was so overwhelmed hearing those words directly from Daniel that I couldn't speak. I could only nod with tears streaming down my face. There was applause from the waiters and other customers around us, and it felt like a flash mob, which was embarrassing but unforgettable. I was very happy, but there was one thing I was concerned about. It happened when I went to Daniel's house to announce our engagement. "I've heard about you. You're a very hardworking and sincere young woman. By the way, how old are you, Jennifer?" When his mother Amanda asked me this and I responded, "I will be 28 years old," she said, "What? I hope everything is fine with having grandchildren." I was expecting a younger bride. Immediately, Daniel stepped in and said, "Mom, stop talking about that. We are about to get married, don't be rude." But Amanda didn't seem convinced. I wanted to have children and hoped to conceive as soon as possible, but Amanda's words upset me. Moreover, after getting married, I was supposed to live with Daniel's parents in their house. It was Daniel, who had been living at home, who suggested this. The house was close to my workplace, so I couldn't easily refuse. After the marriage, Amanda kept saying things like, my friend's grandchildren are so cute. I want to have mine soon, and I want to play with my grandchildren as soon as possible. Eventually, she even started meddling in our intimate life, saying things like, Jennifer, are you measuring your body temperature properly? You know, there are methods like the something something method. You really have to think about making babies. But later on, I found it difficult to get pregnant and gradually became anxious. Daniel and I decided to go to the hospital for a checkup. The doctor told us, there is no problem with your husband, but your uterus has a slightly complex shape, making it difficult for the embryo to implant. Does that mean I can't get pregnant? I asked hesitantly, and the doctor replied, scientifically, it's not completely impossible. However, there are no known cases of pregnancy in this situation in the United States. So, the problem is with me. It was clear that my body had issues with getting pregnant. The moment I was told this, I broke down and cried to Daniel. I felt like I was failing in my role as a woman and started blaming myself. Daniel tried to comfort me by saying, it's okay, but no matter what he said, I couldn't shake off the feeling that it was my fault. Daniel himself seemed lost for words, and this made me feel even worse. From that day on, I found it hard to focus on housework and my job, and Amanda started to worry about me. I'm okay. I'm just tired from work. I would reply, but it was clear that I was depressed, and both Daniel and I were acting differently. Amanda noticed and said, something is wrong, isn't it? Talk to me. The atmosphere in this house is getting depressing. Reluctantly, Daniel and I decided to tell Amanda about what the doctor had said. I couldn't respond, but Daniel said, Mom, that's no way to talk. But Amanda continued, I knew it. I should never have let you marry her. I had a bad feeling about her from the start. I checked if grandchildren would be possible, didn't I? Blaming Jennifer won't solve anything, Mom. It's not her fault. Daniel defended me, but Amanda kept going. It's obviously the bride's fault. And you, Daniel, should have listened to my advice. Enough is enough, Mom. You're going too far. Why are you taking her side? And with that, Amanda stormed off to her room. Don't worry about it, Jennifer. You don't have to mind her, Daniel comforted me. Daniel. Actually, I've been thinking about this too. What do you mean? I think it's too painful for you to stay with me. You want to have children, right? But you can't have them with me. I think it would be better for us to break up. But Daniel said, I married you because I want to spend the rest of my life with you, Jennifer. Whether we can have children or not, as long as we can live together, that's all that matters to me. Please, stop thinking about breaking up just because we can't have children. I remember the tears welling up in my eyes at Daniel's warm words. After learning about the results of the examination, my mother-in-law, Amanda, really wanted a grandchild. She started to harass and be nasty to me because I couldn't have children. When my father-in-law or Daniel was around, they would protect me. However, Amanda didn't like that, and she would be mean when the two of them weren't there. I would consult with Daniel about it every day. However, I was worried that if Amanda thought I was tattling to Daniel, it might make her even angrier. Daniel didn't say anything directly, but he did his best to keep Amanda and me apart. Still, Amanda's mean behavior didn't stop, and both Daniel and I were at our wits' end. Finally, Daniel couldn't take it anymore and confronted Amanda. We have our own circumstances in this marriage. What do you want from Jennifer? Isn't it enough that she lives here with us? Stop being so mean to her. Amanda snapped back in rage. Quiet. I will not accept a daughter-in-law who can't give me grandchildren. Why would you say something like that? I can't live with you anymore. This is not fair to Jennifer. We're moving out. Angry, Daniel declared that we were going to live separately. In fact, we had been looking for a new place for quite a while, so we started to seriously consider our options. Initially, we were searching for a rental that we could move into immediately, but we couldn't find a place that met our expectations. So, we reevaluated our budget, considering our living expenses, and we both agreed that building a new house would be a better option for our future. Though we couldn't move as quickly as we could have if we rented, thanks to Daniel confronting Amanda, my father-in-law also started to keep a closer eye on Amanda to ensure she didn't mistreat me. So, we were able to move on the scheduled day without any major issues. We thanked my father-in-law and moved into our new house. Life without Amanda was blissful. However, just a week after we moved, I received a call from my father-in-law. I'm sorry. It seems like Amanda has found out your new address. She snooped around and found a note with your address written on it. We hadn't told Amanda our new address because we thought it might lead to more trouble. And she says she's coming over now, no matter what. I'm really sorry. A few hours later, Amanda and my father-in-law arrived. When I opened the front door, there stood Amanda, holding some bags, and my father-in-law, who looked apologetic. I wanted to close the door right away, but Amanda quickly said, "I'm sorry for making you feel uncomfortable because of me." She was being unusually humble and apologetic. I was stunned and looked at Daniel in disbelief. Amanda didn't try to force her way into the house. Instead, she handed me a large package. "This is a housewarming gift. Hang it in your bedroom or something. I bought this clock and the salesperson told me it's good feng shui to put it in the bedroom." I took the package and was about to thank her when I noticed Amanda wouldn't meet my eyes. Instead, she was already turning on her heel, pulling my father-in-law along to leave. "Well then, we're heading back. You two take care and live well together." "Wait, you just got here. Are you leaving already?" "I'm sorry, son. This is Amanda's way of making amends. She didn't want to intrude inside your house. We just came to give you this gift," my father-in-law said, smiling apologetically while Amanda pulled him away. Seeing Amanda's submissive attitude made me feel bad, and I could understand why my father-in-law didn't want to let her in. However, I could faintly see a sly smile on Amanda's face. Encouraged by Daniel's excited voice, I decided to open the package right there. It was a wooden wall clock, decorated with a small birdhouse-like ornament. It seemed like a cuckoo clock, and when I touched it, I noticed something. Without a word, I lifted the clock high with both hands and smashed it onto a garden stone nearby. The sound of destruction made Amanda turn around in shock, while Daniel and my father-in-law just stared, mouths agape. With a shocked expression, Daniel shouted at me, "What are you doing? Mom has reflected on her actions and even gave us a gift, and you're acting like this? Apologize to Mom, now." Amanda, my mother-in-law, was covering her mouth, muttering, "How could you?" My father-in-law still had his mouth wide open, shocked by my actions. I took deep breaths, trying to calm myself down. Then, I squatted down and took something out from the wreckage of the broken clock. "Can you still say that after seeing this?" I showed Daniel a certain part from inside the clock. What is this? Why is this here?" Saying this, Daniel clenched his fist, his anger evident. Amanda's attitude was strange, wasn't it? She handed it over as if she was pushing it onto us, even though it was supposed to be an apology and a gift. That's when I thought something was off and took a closer look. "Amanda, do you know what this is?" "I have no idea." Even after showing her the two parts, Amanda shook her head, claiming ignorance. However, her complexion had completely changed to a pale shade. "It's part of a camera and a voice recognition device," Daniel said, stunned. I could see my father-in-law, shocked, out of the corner of my eye. When I touched the birdhouse, I felt suspicious because the door wouldn't move at all. I thought it was just a decoration, but then I saw a small, round, black hole in the center. When the sunlight hit it, I noticed something glittering inside, and realized it was a camera lens. "Amanda, you say you don't know, but why would there be a camera inside this?" I realized after smashing it that there was more than just a lens inside the clock. There was also a part resembling a microphone, suggesting that one could see and hear through this wall clock if they checked on the corresponding device or app. Since it's a wall clock, it's meant to be hung inside a room, and in the end, Amanda must have given us this clock to spy on our lives. "What the hell? Mom went to such lengths." Daniel was trembling with rage. Amanda was looking around nervously, clearly disturbed. My father-in-law looked at her and sighed deeply. "Is this true? You went to such lengths. Mom, you knew about this, right? If we had hung this in our bedroom, you would have had full access to the footage and audio from our bedroom." My father-in-law was in shock. "You! Why would you give us something like this? What were you thinking?" "Oh, come on, why did you have to notice? If you had just accepted it quietly, you would have looked so much more charming. But this daughter-in-law of mine," Amanda retorted, unabashed. "What are you talking about? You're the one who planted a listening device. Why would you do such a thing?" As Daniel confronted Amanda angrily, she responded, I was worried whether my daughter-in-law was fulfilling her duties as a wife at night properly. I thought perhaps the reason you two haven't had children isn't a physical issue, but a mental one. So, I wanted to make sure she was behaving properly as a wife in the bedroom, and if not, I was planning to force her to divorce for being a worthless woman. It wouldn't have been good for you, Daniel. As she spoke, Amanda slammed her belongings against the fence, enraged. Daniel, also angry, snapped back at her. I've told you I'm perfectly happy as things are now. And there's no way you could have rigged this clock by yourself. Is there someone else trying to come between us? To this, Amanda responded. If I had accomplices who thought the same way, it could have been done even better. I had a clockmaker acquaintance of mine specially make this clock with a camera and microphone built in. What have you done? Do you even realize how awful this is? At my father-in-law's words, Amanda responded, throwing stones at the fence. The worst one here is your wife. She can't even have children, yet she had the nerve to marry you. What about my grandchildren? Stop it, right now. As my father-in-law held Amanda back, he said, I'm sorry about this. We'll be leaving for today, and pushed Amanda into the car, driving away. Standing there in a daze, Daniel turned to me and said, I'm sorry. My mom said some really terrible things. It's not your fault, Daniel. Afterwards, I couldn't help but wonder what had become of Amanda and my father-in-law. I didn't want to have anything to do with Amanda anymore, but I was worried about how my father-in-law would handle the situation, and what our relationship with Amanda would be like in the future. A few days later, I received a call from my father-in-law. I'm really sorry about the other day, were his first words. I actually wanted an apology from my mother-in-law, not him. He hadn't done anything wrong. No, Dad, are you okay after all that? Daniel spoke, sounding concerned. We had a big fight after that. During that, a lot of things came up. It seems that my wife, Amanda, has been making snide remarks and harassing not just Jennifer, but others as well. I was surprised. I had no idea she was treating other people the same way. Wait, what do you mean? Daniel was also shocked and asked his father for clarification. There's a woman in our neighborhood who can't have children, and apparently Amanda has made snide remarks and harassed her as well. So she's been doing this to strangers as well, not just family? It seems that way. When I told her it was wrong to treat Jennifer so harshly, she said she's been doing the same to other useless women who can't have children. I was horrified. What he described was truly horrifying. I wondered why she would do such things. That's awful. She's been doing all this behind our backs? I could hear the anger in Daniel's voice as his father tried to calm him down. Now, calm down and let me finish. Calm down? How can I calm down when my own mother is acting like this? It's infuriating and embarrassing. Don't you feel the same way, Dad? You're right. That's why I went to apologize to that family as soon as I heard about it. But I also found out that a few houses down, a daughter-in-law was verbally abused by Amanda to the point of depression, and they moved away a few years ago. I'm scared of what the neighbors think, and I can't bear it anymore. My father-in-law sounded truly distressed. I can't handle this anymore, so I've decided to get a divorce. I was shocked, but Daniel remained calm and concerned. Is that so? I agree with the divorce. Are you going to be okay, Dad? Then, my father-in-law explained calmly, as if he had already made up his mind. I'm going to move out of this house, too. I owe an apology to the neighbors. But don't worry about me. I've already found a good place to live through an acquaintance. I'll move as soon as the paperwork is done. I wanted to let you know because Amanda might head your way, now that I've kicked her out of the house today. I'm worried about that. Even in his own time of distress, he was still looking out for us. I see. Got it. We'll handle it if she comes here. I'm really sorry again. I'll get in touch once I've settled down. He spoke politely and hung up. Thanks to Daniel putting the phone on speaker, I was able to hear the entire conversation. And just a few hours later, Amanda showed up at our house with her bags. Please help me. After the divorce, he kicked me out of the house. I have nowhere to go. Let me stay here. She said this as soon as she arrived. Daniel asked her, why did you get a divorce? It's not just because of this recent incident, is it? Well, I have my reasons. We heard from Dad. Amanda's eyes widened in surprise. So in addition to Jennifer, you've also been nasty to the other daughter-in-laws in the neighborhood? Well, that's... And because of your verbal abuse, one of them even became depressed? Hold on! That's an exaggeration! There's no proof that it was my fault. You're making it sound like I'm the criminal. Besides, how can a woman not have children? I went through a lot to give birth to you. And I can't even see my own grandchildren because of her. Just looking at her makes me sick. Amanda had flipped her anger switch. Mom, happiness isn't just about having children. Daniel responded calmly. I know that. Just let me stay here for now. I'm sorry, but that's not possible. I've decided to be happy with Jennifer. I can't live with you the way you are now. You need to think about what you've done. Why not? You're my son. I gave birth to you and raised you. Show some filial piety. I'm grateful to you for giving birth to me and raising me, but this is a different matter. Why? Just let me stay here. As she said this, she started throwing things from the entryway towards us. Seeing that there was no reasoning with her, we decided to call the police. We managed to keep Amanda from coming in until the officers arrived. When they did, they took her outside. Damn it! I'm so angry. What's going to happen to me now? I never want to see your face again. That was the last thing I heard her shout. I didn't want to see her face either, so I thought to myself, well, you didn't have to come in the first place. It seemed like Amanda had received a stern warning from the police, as she never came to our house again afterward. Soon after, Daniel's father decided to move. And incredibly, he moved into an apartment within walking distance from our house. If that woman ever comes around, I'll take responsibility and handle it. He assured us, which honestly was a relief. When we went to his house for a housewarming visit, we asked about Amanda's current situation. It seems like she's living in public housing now. You know, the affordable housing that prioritizes seniors and those with special circumstances, he explained. Oh, we lived in a place like that a long time ago, didn't we? Exactly, it's similar to that. Back then, families with children were given priority for those apartments too, he reminisced. Is Amanda working? It seemed like Daniel could hardly believe that Amanda would be holding down a job. She's started working part-time, but nothing seems to last long. She's been a housewife for so long, and she's not great with people. She always causes problems in her relationships with others, creating conflicts, and that's why she ends up losing her job. Then the cycle repeats as she looks for another part-time job, he detailed. I see. Well, I didn't expect it to last. It's good she's at least trying to work. By the way, how does Dad know about Amanda's current situation? Is he in contact with her? I really don't want to keep in touch with her, but we were together for so many years. I can't help but worry a bit. I occasionally get in touch with her to find out how she's doing. I think it's better to know her situation in case something happens, and we need to deal with it before it becomes a problem for you and Daniel again. It seemed like Daniel's kind-hearted father still cared about Amanda's well-being to some extent. Well, as of now, she's not working steadily, so she's living somewhat depressively while receiving welfare, he added. Meanwhile, we started keeping a dog. One day, when we happened to visit a pet store, we came across a toy poodle. Hey! This little one just made eye contact with me, didn't it? I exclaimed excitedly. Me too. So cute. Daniel joined in. And when we looked at its birth date, I was overjoyed. Daniel! Look at its birthday! What's up? Oh. That day. Right. It's the day you proposed to me in Hawaii. Don't you feel like it's fate? Feeling a sense of destiny, we decided to take this young toy poodle home with us. Since then, we've been doting on this dog as if it were our own child. Additionally, with Daniel's father moving nearby, he started visiting us frequently, making our family life lively and cheerful.